Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Miner. This weekly no-fluff mindset show arms you with the practical tools you need to get unstuck so you can get exactly what you want out of life. Remember, when you change your mind, your life will follow. Let's get into today's episode. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Unstuck Podcast. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. I'm Sean. I'm your host. And today we're going to chat about what I have been doing as my mindset practice for a while now. And also I'm going to give you an update on what I've been doing specifically while I've been in quarantine to kind of move along on my mindset journey and perhaps even bring you new information here on the show or in my classes and membership too. Before we do that, I got to let you know today is the official day. The Unstuck Project is open for enrollment starting today. This is my flagship 8-week online course that is designed for the woman that is ready to take charge of their mindset, to get unstuck. That's really all it is. It is for the gal who has potentially listened to maybe all of the Unstuck podcast episodes, maybe some that resonate with her, and has listened, it has resonated, she knows she needs it, she's doing the work, but needs a little bit more guidance, more assistance in really making it part of her life. This course guides you through my 4-pillar framework, which is awareness, alignment, action, and acceptance. And we spend 2 weeks in each of those pillars, and in the process get 4 tools to use to work you through each of those pillars and to really spend, anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes per day incorporating that pillar into your own life through these specific tools, complete with PDFs and complete instructions and everything you ever need, making it very seamless, very easy, no questions asked. Just do that and experience the benefits of getting unstuck. There have been such amazing stories that have come out of this class already since it launched in January of 2020. And I think really the biggest overarching theme is that the work is life-changing. And I don't take that lightly. I agree. It has absolutely changed my life. And I know a lot of you are already experiencing that just by listening to the podcast. But what I want to drive home is that this is a forever thing. In order for it to change your life, first of all, you have to let it, you have to want it, and you have to do it, and you have to make it a consistent thing. It's not something that you can just do, every Friday when you listen to the Unstuck podcast or just when you decide there's some episodes you want to try. You've got to do it all the time. You've got to do it every day. And that's what I'm going to share with you today about my own daily, honestly, I feel like it's almost all day, my mindset practice at this point, but it is something I do daily. And when I don't, I feel it. So I want to provide you with, at the end of the course, you get 16 different tools that you can use. I use them all at different points, but you can kind of create your own toolbox for what you need to do every day, day by day, and picking 1 or 2 to do each day, or maybe you do the same 1 or 2 for a month, and then you realize you need something different, or something else happens and you need to change and do something else. But you have this toolbox at the end of it where you have 16 different things that you can do as part of your own mindset practice to really continue to keep you unstuck and to change your life, to continue this life-changing momentum that mindset work brings. Now, I do want to share one specific testimonial. This is for the ladies that want to get unstuck when it comes to their health, which I think is a lot of you. And I want to share this. This is from Tina, who I got permission to share her testimonial. When I think about how I came to Shawn Miner and the Unstuck Project, I immediately think of manifestation. I was struggling trying to bring my blood sugar A1C number down out of the pre-diabetic range. I'd been using keto as a way of eating for 3 years and had lost 35 pounds, but still struggled with my blood glucose numbers. I started listening to Shawn's podcast, Keto for Women, looking for support on how to reattempt to use keto for my health. Shawn's information and interest about emotionally and psychologically unsticking yourself from negative thoughts and unsustainable approaches towards dieting really resonated with me. I was looking high and low for information on supplements, intermittent fasting, and various ways to eat properly, but not listening to my own body. Shawn's words spoke to me so deeply. I started reading the book she recommends and thinking about how to use my own intuition as a way to heal myself. When the invitation to be a beta tester for the Unstuck Project came up, I immediately signed up. The course took me through a step-by-step process to uncover many negative, false beliefs I had about myself, especially my body. I had always just given up on myself because I believed my body was a failure. As a kid, I had terrible ear problems. I wore glasses. I was not fat, but not skinny, once called a meat and potatoes girl by a woman who was fitting me for a uniform. I was not graceful and always a bit lost. These beliefs hung on and got reinforced in my subconscious mind. I didn't realize they were there until the first week of the Unstuck Project. I was shocked and saddened when I realized what I believed about myself. What an awkward, pathetic little girl I was. However, I had surgery to clear up my ear problems, I got glasses so I could see well, and I had parents that loved me and told me I was beautiful all the time. I, of course, never believed them. The power of negative self-talk is strong. I am surrounded by many people that love and adore me, yet I couldn't see myself the way they saw me. After much thinking, I realized I was not being fair to others and most especially myself. A first step in a much larger process that helped my ongoing healing. No more negative thoughts, no more comparing myself to others, no more looking at websites, videos, or Facebooks for what I needed to eat. No more thinking I'm fat. I stopped it all and started journaling and writing daily affirmations. Through the Unstuck Project, I learned that I could and should rely on myself for my hunger, exercise, and emotional needs. It is daily work. I am a 55-year-old woman and I finally feel in control of my body and my emotional health. I still eat a low-carb diet, I exercise regularly, I journal and meditate daily. My emotional, vibrational energy is high. I am able to cope much more effectively with stressors at work and in my personal life. And the best news of all, my A1C went down out of pre-diabetic range. I burst into tears and did a happy dance in the doctor's office. It is the first time in 15 years I am out of the pre-diabetic range. A testament to healing my body through food and exercise, but more importantly, my understanding that the most effective tool I have is my own intuition. I believe I manifested being introduced to Shawn and the Unstuck Project so that I could heal myself. I highly recommend the Unstuck Project for anyone who is tired of not succeeding at dieting or any other areas of their life. The tools Shawn gives are sustainable, lifelong lessons. It's up to me to practice them daily, and I am 100% worth it. How cool is that story? I just love it. I was so grateful she took the time to write that all for me and to really express everything that happened. And I hope that helps you see what can come out of this, whether you are someone who does have some health issues to work on, or maybe you just see that there are some stories still lurking around for you in your subconscious mind, and that they are really the ones dictating the show when push comes to shove. And you're done with that. If you are done with that, then we have some work to do, and we can do that together in the Unstuck Project. Just head to shawnminer.com/unstuck to get started today. All right, now I want to share, as promised, I want to share my mindset routine. And I shared a little bit about this on Instagram a few weeks ago, and I got a lot of response. There's a lot of questions. There was just a lot of like, oh, this is so cool. Like, that's so great. I love this all. And I thought it would be kind of cool to share this here because I can flesh it out a little more, can explain kind of why I do what I do, how it feels, how it goes, how I decide what to do. And I also want to do so and share my own stuff so that I can encourage you to do the same. Because as I just said, you have to actually do this to make any changes. Trust me, I've tried to just think like, oh yeah, my mindset's good. Like, I'm good. My mindset is good. I'm just going to forget this little routine I do for a while. Just let it go because I know I'm good. And guess what? I wasn't good. I went right back to thinking and feeling and expressing how I used to. Because as I've kind of shared in the past, your ego doesn't disappear. Those stories don't just go away forever. They are still there. It is work to understand that you have the power to choose differently. And that takes practice. It takes daily practice. Let's start by going over what I do. So every morning, I am a morning mindset practicer. For me, it sets my tone for the day. It is also when I feel most calm and receptive. I find that if I wait on any of this stuff, first of all, other things happen in my day and I don't do it, or I don't do it as thoughtfully. I kind of rush through it and I'm just not all there. Whereas first thing in the morning, I'm fresh out of sleep. I kind of reset myself overnight. And now I can come into my mindset practice fully clear and fresh and ready to absorb. So I'm in this very like absorbent state, I guess. So every morning I wake up, I make my coffee. This is very important here. I make my coffee and then I start my mindset practice. The coffee is in there. It's something that makes it feel even more luxurious and fun and exciting and amazing. Like, I get to sip my coffee while I'm journaling. And that just is really fun for me. So while my coffee is cooling, so I make it, I take it with me to my little space, which for me is in my bedroom because we don't have all that much space in the place where we live. So we have kind of made the bedroom kind of the sacred mindset meditation spot for both of us at separate times most of the time. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So while my coffee is cooling, I meditate. And sometimes it goes a little longer, and then by the time I'm done meditating, my coffee is like lukewarm, but I still will drink it while I'm journaling and then go heat it up again later. But I meditate, and most of my meditations are different almost every day. I use the Insight Timer app, which I highly recommend, and I have pretty much all of the ladies in the Unstuck Collective using now. I just kind of instinctively, intuitively decide what I need. Most of the time in my morning meditation, it is a guided meditation. I really do well and love visualizing in my meditation. So it will be some sort of visualization usually. And I'm usually working on some sort of energetic thing, whether it's my chakras or one particular chakra, or really just tuning into my inner being, working on my intuition, something like that. That's really what I prefer, at least in the morning. Or I also love, getting on a tangent here about my meditations, but I also love doing affirmation meditations or gratitude meditations in the morning as well. So I spend anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes meditating, depending on which one I choose for the day. And then by that time, my coffee is ready to go. I then switch into journaling mode. I get out my journal and again, very intuitively decide what I want to journal about. I think in almost every episode, now we are at 42. I've given you some sort of journal prompt or something like that to write. They're very similar to what I do in my own journal. Some days it's just listing tons of things I'm grateful and appreciative of. Some days it's, chatting with my ego versus intuition. Some days I'm writing a letter to the universe. Some days I'm visualizing and writing out my future, which I call my new reality. Like so many different things. Some days I'm just really in a funk and I just need to write out, like my ego just needs to take over and I just need to write out my fears and then kind of like demystify them, like write out my fear and then write out why it's not true. That's a really fun one to do. Just so many different ones, so many different possibilities of what I write, but I always write something. I write something. It could be 3 lines. It could be 3 pages. It just totally depends on the day. And then from there, I will do my own kind of energy scan, energy healing, because I have recently learned Reiki and been attuned to Reiki energy, which I'm going to share coming up a little bit more about that. So I will do kind of practice that because I'm still a new student. I'll practice that on my own body and just do a little energy scan on myself. And then I turn to YouTube usually and either listen to an Abraham Hicks talk or a Wayne Dyer talk or a Joe Dispenza talk. Those are my 3 usual go-tos. There'll be some others sprinkled in here and there, but I kind of just, again, intuitively look at what is on my homepage, which if you scroll, I think you can scroll forever on YouTube and new things will come up. I just look on my homepage because I've done this so much and it has curated my homepage to be what I would potentially be interested in. So there's all these nice mindset kind of spiritual talks ready to go. And I just choose the one that resonates with me that day. They're all over the place. It's so different day by day, but there's always, of course, a very similar message in each one and always exactly what I needed to hear. So that usually takes another 10, 15 minutes. And then depending on how I feel, I may do more of that, or I may be ready to start my day and go eat breakfast and warm up my now cold coffee and continue on with my morning. So one of the questions I got was, how long does that take? And for me, it's usually about 30 to 45 minutes. If, I don't have a lot of time, if there's something I have planned in the morning, I'll shorten that. I'll take some of those steps out. But most of the time, because I, tend to schedule myself around my mindset practice, I have the time to do as much as I need. So it's usually 30 to 45 minutes of that work. And I come out of the room and I feel like $1,000,000 and I just want to give my partner a big hug and play with my dog and just love life, which is amazing. And really this now has gone into a huge chunk of my day overall because this is now what I teach and this is now my business model. I just continue throughout the day doing things like that, researching things, reading stuff. I'm always, absolutely always reading at least one spiritual or energetic or mindset book. And so that usually makes its way in definitely at night, which I kind of have another mindset practice again at night. But also at some point during the day, I'll just sit down and recenter myself by reading some of these books. And I'm accumulating a huge list of books that I will share here at some point. But I'm also making a part of the collective book club. So we read one of these every single month and talk about them. So I'm always reading and studying new books for them too, which is fun. And so this carries on throughout the day. And then in the evening, I now have, especially with coronavirus and having a little bit more time at home, I now have created a second mindset routine, which happens in the evening, and it always includes reading at least 30 minutes of one of these books. Usually it's more like an hour, because we don't really watch a whole lot of TV during the week. It's just kind of a weekend fun thing for us. So Netflix stays off, and instead we read. And we also meditate together. So this is something that I do with my partner most of the time. So it's always reading. Sometimes it's also meditating, especially if she hasn't gotten her meditation in yet that day. Sometimes she prefers doing it at night. So I'll do it with her. And sometimes we do the same one. A lot of the times we do different ones because we are different people and we need different things. If we're feeling like we need the same, we'll kind of both put in our own earbuds, and then we count down and start it at the exact same time. So we're listening separately but together, because these meditations are so much better done like when they're really in your ears, especially the music ones, which is what I tend to prefer at night, whether it's binaural beats or just like a calming frequency, sound healing type music, or it is just calming, lovely music, or I really love singing bowls. So like something like that in the evening, again, 10, 15 minutes at most. We are usually lying in bed doing it, and it's just a nice way to kind of cap off the day and kind of recenter yourself at the end of the day to go into the evening reset, or the overnight reset, I guess. So that's how it looks in my day to day. Again, there's so much more that I bring in as needed. Like I mentioned, the 16 tools that come up in the Unstuck Project, I use those too as needed. Some visualization, gratitude, acts of giving, story releasing, these kinds of things that we talk about here a lot and we do together in the Unstuck Project. That all makes its way in on an as needed basis, which is usually, I'd say, a couple times per week. I'll add in something extra beyond what I just talked about. Now, please know that I'm not sharing this with any of you to make you feel like this is exactly how yours needs to look. This is exactly what you should be doing. And if you're not doing exactly this, then you're not doing anything right, and you're a mindset failure. Please don't think that. Instead, what I want this to do is just start to give you maybe a sort of framework, or just even get you started thinking about how this could look in your own life. Would it be worth getting up 10 minutes early and having that time to yourself to work on your mindset? Or would it be worth turning off Netflix 30 minutes earlier and starting your mindset routine? What looks good to you? What sounds good to you? And do you have the space, or can you make the space in your own life to start your own mindset practice? So what I want to do is inspire you to start looking towards yourself and what that could look like for you. And I know there's so many of you who are already doing this, who have already created this space in their life. But what I'm really seeing, and this became very clear in talking to the collective members, is that a lot of us aren't. A lot of us know we need to. A lot of us do it sporadically, and when we do, we feel so good. But then we get back to our old ways. We get back to our old routine. We get back to thinking there's not enough time. We get back to checking Instagram and watching Netflix instead of working on ourselves. And I want this to be, again, inspiring for you and reminding you of the importance of this and how much it is going to benefit your entire life when you do make this your new norm. Like, it really does need to be your new norm. And I can tell you that I know probably a lot of you listened to everything I just said and was like, oh my God, she's crazy. Like, how in the world does she have that much time? Yes, I do have time because I work for myself. I have my own business. I don't have kids. So I understand that, yes, I do have a different scenario than a lot of people, but I also know many, many, many women out there who do have kids and jobs and all these things that they need to manage, but they still make time for their own work. And in doing so, free up so much space and energy in their everyday lives for the rest of what needs to be taken care of. That's what we really need to drive home here is me taking 30 minutes at the beginning of the day. It frees up like 3 hours of my day at least because I am now in a good place mentally, emotionally, and energetically. Whereas if I don't do that work, and there are days that I just don't do my mindset practice at all, they're very rare, but they happen. And I just am like a mess all day. I'm all over the place. My ego gets involved. My energy's all whacked out. I'm spending energy on the wrong things and I feel sporadic and weird and I don't get nearly the amount of stuff done. So it seems like a lot of time, but it's only going to free up more time, energy, space in your life. So I just want to, again, working on the inspiration to find this in your own life and not wanting it to be like forcing you to do something for yourself that you don't want to do. If none of this sounds good, don't do it. But I think a lot of you are going to see that, yeah, it does sound good. It does sound necessary. It does sound like something I want to make space for. And if that's you, I hope that hearing what I do is just giving you some ideas and inspiration for what yours could look like and how you could make time for it and space for it in your own life. Now, I do just briefly want to clue you guys into what I have been doing a little extra now in quarantine, more time spent at home. As I've mentioned, I've had a lot of moments where I haven't felt productive at all, but I have felt very expansive. I guess that's the right word. Like I've really, really almost immediately felt this desire to expand myself when I realized I was going to be at home for a long, long time and for a lot more time than I'm used to. So I immediately signed up for a Reiki course online, and I was really just interested in learning more about it as a healing modality to help others. And I just got so much more out of it. And it really became something I got lost in and got really fascinated with. And it's something, like I mentioned, now I'm in the process of practicing everything I learned. But with that, I dove into learning more about our chakras, and which are energy centers in our bodies. And we've had Christina on the show. She talked about the chakras a little bit, and I plan to do a lot more talking about that in the future because it is so fascinating and so important, especially if you are someone looking to heal your physical body and you've tried all the things, but you haven't yet looked at your energy. And I know that's what we kind of talk about here and do quite a bit of, and especially what we work on in the Unstuck Project. But there's so much to really look into. There's a lot more going on under the hood, so to speak, with our energy that we are missing. And I really find that fascinating and really important information. So let me know if you do want me to teach more about this. You can shoot me a message over on Instagram at Sean Miner and let me know if you'd like me to do. I think I would even potentially do like a webinar type thing so that I could see your face. Well, I guess you could see my face, but also you could see my slides. I'd like to make it kind of more of a presentation type thing because it's that in depth. But also got me learning more about crystals and the energy and healing work that crystals can do. And I've had crystals for a long time. I've used them before. I've used them, pretty regularly, but I didn't fully understand and embrace their power. And now I feel like I have a whole new thought process on the use of crystals, and I'm really finding them so fascinating and so helpful. I've been using them in my meditations, in my little mindset practice, my morning meditation every day, depending on which one I need and what intuitively feels good. And I really do feel the benefits there. And so as you can see, I'm just kind of really diving into the idea and understanding of energy. I talk about it a lot here, but I really have just been wanting to go to the next level for myself, but then also as a means to educate and empower you as well. Because, like I said, I do have probably more time on average than most people, and you may not want to read 100 books about crystals. So instead, I could just tell you in a podcast episode or do a little webinar or course on the topic. So that's what I've been up to, and I've been finding it like it has just been so cool. I've enjoyed it so much. I do have a little story to share too. As I mentioned, the course I took on Reiki is all online. And so I figured I would just kind of learn the basics, just get started. And then once quarantine was over and we could start seeing people in person, I would go to a Reiki instructor here locally and kind of finish up, get some more information, and do my attunement in person. And the attunement is really where you receive the Reiki energy. I mean, it's hard for me to explain without just totally going into all of Reiki, but just know it's kind of your initiation to where you actually are a practitioner and you actually have the Reiki energy. You're kind of given the Reiki energy by your instructor. And so I still signed up for the distance Reiki attunement from the instructor that I found online. And she's in Australia, so it was going to be overnight was when she was going to do my attunement from a distance, and I would be sleeping. So she just let me know to meditate before bed. So I got into that receiving mode and then just sleep, and you can still receive the attunement. Everything is fine. So I figured I would just wake up in the morning and just go about my normal life. That night, I woke up in the middle of the night, which almost never happens to me unless I'm like super hot or super cold or one of the animals wakes me up or something. So almost never wake up in the middle of the night. That night, I woke up and I was alert, like I was like sprung awake, but my entire body felt like it was tingling. So weird. I was just so not expecting that. And I really, truly believe that that was me feeling the attunement of the Reiki energy and feeling that energy come into my body. I mean, you can't deny that. That is not something that I can explain any other way, to feel that tingling sensation throughout my whole body. And it wasn't bad. It was a very lovely feeling, but it was very obvious to feel that energy. And I have since been able to perform Reiki on myself. I have done a kind of mini session on my partner, and she has felt that as well. And so it's very cool. I am very excited about that. I will still probably go see someone in person just because I have some questions that I feel like would be better explained if I could just kind of talk to somebody in person and perhaps do a little bit more refinement of my practice. But I am looking forward to, I don't know that I'll ever be considered an energy healer. And to be honest, I don't even really like that title, because I believe, especially now knowing so much about energy, that we heal ourselves. So what I more so see myself doing is providing more insight and information for people to heal themselves. I don't know what the title is for that. I don't think I need a title. But that's what I'm really looking to use this new information for, is just, I wanted it to just kind of know more. And instead, now I've gotten to this place where I really see such power and benefit in having this information and being able to share it with other people and help them heal themselves, which I think if you've been following me in my own journey through both my own healing and also my business, that's really been my goal from all along, is inspiring and educating women to heal themselves. And it started with the physical form of that, with personal training and then nutrition. And now it's gotten into more of the mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic healing that we all need. We all need, and I'm so excited to be able to provide that education, again, based on my own experience and what I've been learning and growing and expanding into myself. So hopefully you will be interested in some of that. Again, let me know. Head over to my Instagram at Sean Miner, slide into my DMs, as the young kids say, and let me know if that's something you'd be interested in learning more about. And I'll kind of gather that information and take it in and see what I can do for those that are interested. So there you go. That's really just like a super off the cuff episode chatting about what I've been up to since quarantine, and also just in my own personal mindset practice in general. That's something I've been doing for a long, long time. And I hope it helps. I hope it helps you see how maybe this could play out in your own life, and maybe it inspires you to expand right now too. And if you'd like to do that together, I'd love to have you in the Unstuck Project. Now is the time, my friends. We are waking up. We're waking up. I feel it. And I think sometimes it takes a global crisis to do that. And then that may be where we're at now, but it's happening. And I'd love to be a part of your waking up journey. We can do that together. SeanMiner.com/unstuck. I will see you all inside class if that's something that speaks to you. And if not, regardless, I will see you here next week on the Unstuck podcast. And until then, take care.